Hey everyone, it's John. Happy Monday and welcome to another episode of Brain Scratch, Case Cracked. And this episode I have to give a very big thank you to Alexandra, who did the research on this and sent it my way. She did a really good job, so thank you so much, Alexandra. Let's take a look at the case of Wayne and Sharmon Stokes is how I've heard it pronounced on a lot of news footage, so that's how I'm going to go forward. I know it looks like it's spelt Stocks, but I've heard a lot of news footage covering it as Stokes. I've also heard some that covers it as Stocks, so I'm just going to pick one way and we're going to roll with it. All right, we have to start talking about the victims in this story. Wayne Stoke and Sharmon Stoke. He was 58 years old and she was 55, were a well-respected married couple of 38 years in the farm community of Murdock, Nebraska. Wayne owned the Stoke Hay Company, while Sharmon decorated cakes out of their farmhouse. I understand she was also taking care of an elderly mother of hers. They had 3 children, Stephen, Tammy, and Andy. So Wayne and Sharmon threw an Easter party. This is Easter of 2006 for their friends and family. Had a nice day. After the party ended, the couple retired to bed for the night, and then at some point in the early morning hours, 2 people entered their home. The Stoke couple were killed in their bedroom. The scene indicated that there was a struggle, particularly between the husband Wayne and the invaders, and their bodies were found around 9 a.m. the following morning, unfortunately by their son Andrew. Now, a majority of murders, as we all know, are committed by family members, and authorities certainly did look in that direction with this case, just as they usually would and should. And they did find a few indicators that pointed towards one particular family member that might have a reason to commit this crime. And just some other indicators about how difficult this crime was to commit. For example, their home was in rural Nebraska. It was hard to find. It was on a gravel road. There was no money or jewelry missing, so it begs the question, what was the motive? There were rumors of animosity between their nephew, Matthew Livers, and Wayne Stoke in particular. And from what I understand, that had to do with Matthew feeling like he wasn't being taken care of very well by family members. I don't know if there was some inheritance going around, but he seemed to have an expectation that people were supposed to give him a bit more than they actually did. So between those rumors of animosity and a statement from the brother of Sharmon Stoke, it quickly made Matthew a person of interest. And that statement was, "If anything ever happens to me, tell the cops to look at Matt Livers." So obviously we could see that there was some really hard things going on in this family, to the point where Sharmon actually warned her brother about Matt Livers. Livers admitted in police interviews that he often felt that Wayne made him feel like the, quote, black sheep of the family. Now, Matt also had a cousin that he was very close to named Nicholas Sampson. Outside of that, there was a tan Ford Contour that was spotted near the Stoke home on the night of the murder, and Matt and Nicholas had access to a tan car. And there was something weird that happened the day after the murder. For some reason, Matt and Nicholas took that car very early in the morning to get it detailed, sometime around 5:30 a.m. So police brought Matthew in. They interrogated him for several hours, and it is worth noting Matthew has an IQ of about 68. So this is one of those cases, almost reminds me of Brandon Dassey a little bit. And he did, after several hours, wind up confessing to the murder committed by him and his cousin Nicholas. Of course, he was able to cite the inside of the house extremely well, and he even seemed to get the fact that they were both shot in the head correct. Although Matthew's confession matched the crime scene, there was no DNA evidence, and the very next day he actually recants his confession, stating that he was telling the police what they wanted to hear so that they would leave him alone. So even though they have a confession and they have the sighting of the car, the authorities had really little evidence to support those two pieces. So they brought in a legendary crime scene investigator known as David Kofod. And it's been said that this guy can solve cases that no one else could. When he was interviewed about that, he says that he's just like a dog with a bone. He just can't let things go, and he'll see it through to the end. He wound up finding a small drop of Wayne Stokes' blood, 7 nanograms of DNA, which apparently is, we're talking like microscopic level, inside of the tan car in a spot where someone else that had searched it did not find this blood before. So at that point, you're probably thinking, case cracked, right? Well, you can see we're only halfway through the episode, and no, this case was not cracked. Outside of this, some other evidence pops up on the scene. While Matt and Nick sit in jail awaiting trial for the double murder, a marijuana pipe, a flashlight, and a ring with engraving on it are found at the crime scene. The ring is engraved actually on the outside, and it says, "Love always, Corey and Ryan." And that makes it a bit unique because most of the time engravings are on the inside. There are some maker's marks on the inside. And the DNA that is found on these 3 items matches the 3 items, but it does not match Matt or Nick. So an investigator named Christine Gabig calls the company that manufactures the ring. She actually happens to get a hold of them on their final day of business. Like literally, they filed bankruptcy, they're closing their doors. She happened to get them on their last day. One more day and she would have missed being able to talk to someone there. She's able to trace the ring to Ryan, the person that it belonged to, who lived in Wisconsin. When she talked to him, he says, "Yeah, I did have that ring, but it was in my truck, and my truck was recently stolen." Outside of all this, 2 people are sitting in jail for a multi-state crime spree, including stealing Ryan's truck. Pretty interesting. So what actually happened? A young couple, Jessica Reed and Gregory Fester of Horicon, Wisconsin, go on a cough syrup binge. Literally, they're, I guess, using cough syrup to get themselves thwacked. They decide to accompany the binge with a road trip. They steal the red pickup truck. They go through several states. They are running out of money and decide to look for an empty house to steal from. Early in the morning after Easter, the couple pulls into the Stokes driveway, assuming it is empty. They have 2 loaded shotguns that they actually stole from someone else's house. And they have them in case they bump into any dogs. They're figuring that they can use the guns to clear out the dogs. At least that's what they said. An unlocked window was found at the house. They push it up, they climb inside, they head upstairs to the bedroom and turn on the bedroom lights. And apparently Gregory shoots Wayne in the leg and they begin to struggle. He then shoots Wayne in the head. I did see some information that said Jessica did fire 1 shot, but she's not sure if it hit anyone. And in one of the investigations I saw on this, the investigators noted that it looked like 1 shot just hit the bed and probably didn't hit a person. I think that might be the shot she made, but I'm not positive. Sharmon was actually on the phone trying to call 911. And this is according to Jessica, when Gregory found her and then shot her in the head. The couple then headed downstairs. They found an envelope with $500 in it and headed out. And this is where Jessica supposedly dropped the ring that led the investigators back to them. Authorities initially get Jessica to state that her and Greg committed this crime with Nick and Matt. They actually made up this whole story where she says she met them at a bar and that they all went over to the house together. However, she later recants that story and she winds up kind of testifying against her boyfriend, but they both wind up getting 2 consecutive life sentences. Apparently, it was noted that she seemed like a very good person once she was in jail. Her family also states that she was an excellent student. I think she was an honor student. And basically, just 2 years prior to this, her family went through a divorce. She started acting out a little bit, and she started dating this guy, Greg Fester, who had a lot of problems, and it seemed like she just kind of went in the wrong direction. So now we can say case cracked, right? Well, we got one more little tidbit here. What about the blood that was found in the car by that, quote, miracle CSI worker? Well, Kafode was convicted of planting the blood evidence in the car. He served 18 months in prison for it and was ordered to pay Matthew and Nicholas $6.5 million. Pretty serious charges. That's it for your episode of Case Cracked this week. Thank you so much for spending some time with me here on the Lord and Arch channel. I hope you guys have an excellent day. Catch you on the next show.